Hey guys, Lindsey here. So another forecast deep dive. We're just going to check out some hurricane stuff. I'm going to talk about our forecast, our extended warmed trend that we do have as we close out September, and then a little bit about space weather. And I normally do like space weather on a different channel. Today I'm just going to mention a few things. I do a space weather briefing every Monday because, yeah, things do change, but unless we get a big like CME that gets launched or something. We did have some northern lights in northern Michigan last night, northern Wisconsin, but I didn't see anything that warranted me to do anything special about it. I don't want to ever send you guys outside in the middle of the night and then you don't see anything, especially if it's not with the naked eye. Sometimes you can see this stuff with a camera, but nonetheless, hurricanes. We have Imelda, now a Category 1 hurricane as it reached that 75-mile-an-hour mark there. Umberto is 100 miles an hour. And I wish I memorized the Saffir-Simpson scale, but there's so many scales we work on. So the wind scale, again, is for a major hurricane, it is 111 miles an hour to 129. So Umberto is at 100 and I think it was 110. 100, I'm sorry, at 100 miles an hour. So right now it is a Category 2 storm, likely with the impacts of what's happening with Imelda. So the latest tracks on this still do take it out into the Atlantic. Imelda getting caught up in Umberto. So Bermuda is going to be kind of in the line of fire there as a hurricane does pass through, looking like Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then it kind of pushes out to sea. When we look at the forecast cone for Hurricane Umberto, this one also is going to be pushing its way kind of in that same direction, though. There's Bermuda, so it's going to go kind of up and around it before turning into a tropical storm on Thursday morning. So these really don't cross paths, and I can show you that by taking a look here at our long range forecast, looking at the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to go to surface temperatures because I think it's just easier to see it. And you can see they don't ever like do this. So there's a name for that. It's like the Fujiwara effect or something, but we don't ever get that happening. In fact, usually when you get hurricanes close together, one kind of takes over the other. They don't usually merge into one. They kind of out compete one another. So as you can see, it looks like Umberto gets dissolved right there. Here's it right here. And then Imelda takes over and then follows a path and moves on out. So good news for the East Coast. You just have some rip currents to deal with. Otherwise, that is it I have on hurricanes. Talking about our forecast, we are still looking at above average temperatures. Big ridge right here kind of popping up, and that is helping to keep us in a holding pattern of above average temperatures. There are the two hurricanes moving out, and actually because of those hurricanes, it forces that ridge to stay here a little longer. So we will likely be above average for the long term. Now, where there's differences, the European weather model that has not been very consistent lately. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. Hang on one second. And okay. So the European weather model, it does have the ridge breaking down and then giving us a little bit of a zonal flow and a little cooler by the 13th. But then if we look at the ensembles and check out the GEFS, it kind of gives us this ridge and then it maintains that a little bit and gives us a zonal pattern as well with more average temperatures. So earlier models did highlight the European giving us this huge trough rolling through. So now that I'm noticing that this is not as much the case anymore, I have more confidence that I don't think we have a cool down coming. But you see what I'm talking about? It kind of brings this guy here. I don't feel like that's going to happen. I think this ridge is going to hold out, and that dip in the jet will likely stay further north of us. So I still do feel, and so does the Climate Prediction Center, that we are in for above average temperatures for the long term. At least, let's look at the 8 to 14 day outlooks. I mean, at least through mid September. There we got some cooling on the West Coast, but yeah, it looks above average. And we could use some rain if we look at the climate data for September. If you look at the data for the entire month, I can pull this up for you. You can see we have had pretty warm temperatures and we are below average. Normally, we should have about 3 inches of rain by now, and we only have 1.6. So we are in a deficit when it comes to that. And we're likely going to close out this month near average. Even though we started off so cool, we ended this month with well above average temperatures. So it all kind of evened out, if you can believe that. Travel Wisconsin showcasing some fall colors. The latest report. I do post these online every day, or not online. I post these on air every day. We're getting some a little bit of color popping up in Forest County. The last update was on the 24th, and you can see that right there. There's been some coloring in some other counties, including in Oshkosh as well, a little bit in Racine County, but a lot of this is just to the tops of trees sometimes. Even with tree health and also tree age can really, the colors can be impacted by this. So there's your fall color report. This is what we use from Travel Wisconsin, and then we update this county by county. So while it is a painstaking process, it's what we do. As far as rain chances go, it's going to be pretty tough, guys. I don't see much in the way of rain chances. I'm going to go ahead and pop up. I'll do the whole United States, and I'll do the the precip, just so you guys can see. I'm gonna do some. No, I'll do this. No, I lied. Let's do this one. All right. So you can see this is going into today. We're right here where I have the little crosshairs. And while there are things going up and around us, as you can see, because we have that ridge pattern, there's not consistent rain chances. It doesn't even look like until maybe next Tuesday we see something, which is crazy. We need some rain. And if you notice, I did change the color palette because we're getting to that season where I'm going to have to start talking about mixed precip or snow, but that's way to the north right now. We don't have to worry about that. And yes, we did have the opportunity to see some northern lights last night for maybe like the north mid latitudes. I would say north of probably Door County, maybe like Palmyra, probably saw a little bit. We do have, if we look at our sun right now, I'm going to go to the solar synoptic map. Solar's not there. It is. For today, that does show there is a Earth directed coronal hole that is kind of likely going to give us some kind of a high speed stream, so that could bring some flaring, or not flaring, that could bring some auroras. It depends on the polarity of it. It depends on how fast it gets here. What I have noticed is looking at the quickness, the density is also peaking. Plus we do have a predominantly southern BZ, which is best for getting storming when it comes to anything aurora related. Plus the solar wind is picking up. So that's very indicative of a high speed stream, not like a CME that launches from the Earth. This sun has been bringing us some flaring, but I talked about that yesterday. But yes, if I do think we have any opportunities of auroras, I will mention it. For now, we are out of the auroral oval, but if that coronal hole does pick up a little bit, we could see some more of that action. We did have G3 storm conditions observed last night, so northern Wisconsin got a little bit of those lights, but I had been told a lot of these were not visible to the naked eye. So more of that was kind of more toward the Dakotas, also into Wyoming, into the Pacific Northwest. Michigan did see some of this as well. So very interesting. If you want to learn more about that, I do have a space weather channel, so you can check that out. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow.